And welcome back to the weekly market recap where we go over this week's market while keeping it as simple as possible. Now, what a week in the market. The S&P 500 actually hit all-time high and it closed the week at 6,173. So let's talk about exactly what happened to push the S&P to all-time highs. And for that, we need to go back to last week. So last week, the United States did bomb Iran and actually destroyed their nuclear power plants. And that was a huge deal. And it looked like on Monday, and it looks like all hell was going to break through in the economy and the stock market was going to crash. So looking at the S&P 500 for this week, you'll see exactly what I mean. You'll see that on Monday, the stock market did look like it was about to dip and it was under that 6,000 level. And then after that, the market did pick up and it closed above the 6,000 level. That's when we received huge news that it looks like the war in the Middle East will have a ceasefire. So after that news, the market actually did take off. If you look at this message from President Donald Trump, he's basically saying both sides from Iran and Israel has agreed for a ceasefire, and that would end the war in the Middle East. So that was a huge deal for markets. But it's kind of funny because if you look at this message after the successful attack from the United States on Iran and its nuclear system, Donald Trump said basically Iran was acting almost like a little child and they had to lash out with attacks on the United States bases. But he said Iran did let the United States know ahead of time that the attack was going to go, and the United States was able to disarm those missiles so no one got hurt. Now that they're ready to ceasefire and have a peace agreement between both nations. With that, the stock market took off for the rest of the week, and we ended the S&P 500 for the week at about 6,175, and it pushed the markets to all-time highs. And again, like I said, if the market had passed that 6,000 level, most likely scenario is that we are going to hit all-time highs. And now that we're in all-time highs, markets are in discovery mode to see exactly how high they can get. But as well, we did receive some negative data in the market, and we received a PCE report. And again, PCE report is the Fed's favorite gauge on inflation. If you look above, you'll see that the PCE data actually came in hotter than expected. So what that means is inflation is actually higher than the expectation, and that's a very important thing when it comes to the Fed rate meeting. It's about to come up in July. So we'll see if the Fed and Jerome Powell actually lower interest rate. And getting into lowering interest rate, that has been a huge fight that I've been letting you guys know, a battle between Donald Trump and Jerome Powell, and it actually heated up again. If you look at this clip, you'll see that President Donald Trump was alluding to what I've been saying for the reason why he wants interest rates to go down. So check this out.
You have a guy in there that with the stroke of a pen could lower interest rates and save us hundreds of billions of dollars a year. But he's a stupid person. He's doing the service, a very disservice. And then he goes up and talks about, I'd like to see costs come down. You know, he gets up and he does his little thing for 5 minutes, and he goes out and he goes back to the beach. He goes, I'd like to see costs come down. Well, he could lower the interest cost by $900 billion a year.
So like I was saying before, Donald Trump wants the interest rates to come down because the United States government has to refinance over $9 trillion worth of debt. That's so much debt that when the interest rates are higher, that's hundreds of billions of dollars that the United States will have to pay in interest alone. But then again, on Powell's side, he's saying, hey, let's wait and let's see before we bring these interest rates down, because there's so much going on in the world with tariffs coming and inflation could even be going higher that we do not want to lower interest rates because inflation can get out of control. So again, you'll see the battle between those two is very much heating up. So we need to see exactly how it's going to play off. But next week, it's going to be a shortened week because Friday is the 4th of July. So on Thursday, we're going to see some important job numbers. But again, this is the weekly market recap. I will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Peace.